sunwheelmagic.com, thunderwizard.com. Okay, this is Thor versus Indra Part 3. So in Parts 1 and 2, I made the argument that Thunor and Indra are actually the same deity. It's just different pronunciations from the Germanic Indo-Europeans versus the Vedic Indo-Europeans. And I'm also making the argument that the Germanic tribes preserved, especially the Anglo-Saxon tradition, preserved the more accurate pronunciation of the name of the thunder god, THU-NAR. And I go back to the last one, number 2, to get more information on that. But let's talk more about the lore of THU-NAR. So the word thu or du refers to drop, and it refers to drop of water, it refers to drop of ambrosial nectar, it also refers to the moon. The moon was seen as a repository of ambrosial nectar. So let's talk about that, the moon being the repository of ambrosial nectar. In order to understand this better in the Germanic tradition, we need to look at the Vedic lore connected to Indra, because of course Indra and Thunor are the same deity. So one of the stories of Thunor is, of Indra, is that he lusts after the soma. Now the soma is the ambrosial nectar of life, and when he drinks it, it empowers him, and it makes him crazy, but it empowers him to fight the demon Vritra, who is the world serpent that is keeping the ambrosial nectar and also the waters of life. And so when you hear a thunderclap, you know that the rain is coming. Usually, you know, when a thunderstorm is overhead, one of the first things you'll hear is a thunderclap, and then the rain will come down. So this is the same understanding that our ancestors had, is that the thunder god is the one who releases the rain, and it is the world serpent who holds that water of life, and so the thunder god must do battle with him in order to release that water. Well, the moon is seen as being the repository of the ambrosial nectar. And in the Vedic lore, Indra and the moon have this love-hate relationship. And what happens is that Indra climbs into the sky, grabs the moon, and the full moon, and brings it down underneath the earth. And when it's underneath the earth, he then squeezes it out. He presses it, he squeezes it, and out of that comes the ambrosial nectar. When Indra is finished squeezing the ambrosial nectar, the moon escapes back into the sky, and then for 2 weeks it rises into the sky and gets full again, at which point Indra grabs him and pulls him back down. So now we see this obviously in if you go and watch the cycles of the moon. You know, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter till it gets full, and then it gets and it's as though it's going under the ground, because in the new moon you don't see it in the sky. So the idea is that Indra during the new moon is pressing it out, getting all the soma out of the moon. This is connected to the seed sound thu that I talked to you about. Thu is the ambrosial nectar. And Indo-European, my belief is that the sacred seed sounds of the Vedic and Hindu tradition, when they use these one-syllable seed sounds in their mantras, like Om is one of them, these were actually the building blocks of our Indo-European language. And over time, as the Indo-European language changed over thousands and thousands of years, people lost connection to what the actual root of the words were. So when you ask a yogi now, you know, what does these one-syllable seed sounds mean? Many of them will say, well, they're just nonsense syllables. They don't have any translation into any modern human language, but they vibrate on the level of the energy of the universe. Well, I'm saying no. These are actually building blocks of our language, and they were used because people, when they first started speaking, were actually on a different spiritual plane than we are now, and were able to hear these sounds, and they created language from them. So, thum is the seed sound for the ambrosial nectar. And so we have this same word today in the word dewdrop. In English, what is it when you go out and you see in the morning, when the sun is coming up, you'll see little drops of water on your lawn. The ancients, our ancestors, believed that, and it is actually scientifically true, that this water came up from the earth, which is exactly what happens. Water vapor comes up out of the earth and condenses onto the plants around it. And the idea was that the thunder deity, Thunor or Indra, had taken the moon down underneath the earth and was squeezing it out. And so that ambrosial nectar was a gift of the thunder god, because in the morning when you got up, that dew was on the plants. That dewdrop nourishes the plants and helps nourish all of the plant life, which of course gives nourishment to the animals. So once again we have the thunder god is the provider for the nourishment of all living beings. He is the life force of all living beings. So that's a deeper understanding of the word dewdrop connected with the sound for thu, which is the Indo-European sound for the ambrosial nectar of the moon, or the water drops of life.